Hey everyone, this is the last part of our entire tutorial series where I'm just going to explain what all new concept, what all new technology, libraries, and the concept we have learned during this entire tutorial series. I started when I was having an idea to build this tutorial series. I was thinking that I will be covering that in just 7 parts by just having a simple RAG application where PDF is the only data source which we gonna have. But if you have been following this video series, this is the current state of our application. Right here on this screen, you can see this is the UI, where we have data sources, integrated PDF, URL-based content. We can enter the URL and automatically the data will be extracted from there, and it will just create not only the content and the embedding for the vector database, but it is going to give us the summary, like what kind of content and the best 5 questions which user can ask. Same with SQLite ingestion, Postgres ingestion, and then MongoDB ingestion, and the CSV integration and the Restful API. So these were the 7 different data sources which we have integrated. But along with that, we have also integrated the time series database, the InfluxDB, because of which we were able to have, the artificial intelligent based IT operation monitoring application. In short, we call as AI Ops, right? So it was a very interesting journey for me. I hope you guys have also learned a lot. And this is what we have, covered in this tutorial series. Though I planned for 7 parts, but now we have, I think, 28. The 25 parts are the dedicatedly designed for just explaining the concept of the coding. But I think there are 2 or 3 more additional parts where I just took a user's question. One of the question is like, I mean, when I explained that, okay, for the time series database, we're gonna take a different approach. Then I asked, by my colleague that why we have to do it. So I just tried to explain that. Right. So this is how our journey, looks like in this tutorial series. From part 1 to 4, we just have a very, foundational work. I explained the theory, how we can set up the environment, and just a very simple, console-based application where we can upload the PDF and then we can just load the data to the vector DB. Right. And then we just have a set of parts where we just try to create, have a UI as well, top of our, core logic where, we can not only upload and load the data to the vector DB, but we can also ask the questions to the LLM as well. And in that, we have also, added a re-rank model, which actually increased the accuracy of our context content, which we just earlier we were just depending upon the vector similarities. Then in next 10 parts, we just try to integrate a various different data sources, which I felt and I realized that those data sources are more relevant and more commonly used across, our industry. And those were URLs, relational database, NoSQL database like MongoDB, CSV files, RESTful API. And then at the end, in last 5 parts, I was just trying to handle the time series database for the InfluxDB, which was quite interesting and challenging. I learned a lot, right? So, I mean, what all major lesson I just learned, and probably you will agree with me. If not, then you can just put that into the comment section, and I would love to have a, discussion of the brainstorming with you guys. So, what I learned is, you don't have to start with a big idea, right? All you need to do is to just start with a very simple idea which you have in your mind. The important part is you have to start acting on it. You have to start coding on it. You have to start building something. Because my experience says is once you start doing a coding and building something and see something happening, that's the best feeling, I ever have, right? So whenever I get into any project, this is my strategy that I always try to get into the coding part and have something simple working so that I can get sense what I'm building, right? Because if you just keep talking about theory, PPTs, the design documents, and the requirement gathering, all those kind of stuff, though it is very interesting thing to happen, but when you see something happening, that gives you the, exceptional, feeling. And I always, try to stick to that strategy in all of my uh, projects, right? Then what we have done, we just keep increasing the different databases, right? Different data sources, right? That's the another thing. Then if you just if you have been following all these things, right? We have learned a lot, right? We have learned a lot of tools, lot of library, lot of concepts. We're gonna just cover all those things precisely, like what all key concept and the methodology we learn. So as you can see on my screen, right? We just try to understand how we can use a RAG. What is actually RAG, and why do we need to use a RAG for LLMs, right? When we were building that, then only I got this idea. Okay, now we can have this AI for IT operations kind of platform, which can help us to integrate the InfluxDB data points for the payment service API latency, and then we can ask the question whatever very useful in the real time. Like, I mean, if we want to just see whether there is a spike in the API latency for the service or not, right? The other thing which we understand that, whenever we are going to build any application, we always have to have a multiple sources data information, right? That's the important part, because without data, you cannot run your application, right? So that's the another very important key concept which we have learned. I haven't dedicatedly, explained any system design concept, but if you just see the structure, the way we have structured our code in GitHub, it's pretty standard. It has a very modularization stuff. Though I haven't explained, how the modularization should happen. But if you just see, we have a very modularized structure of code. And this was not from the beginning, right? We realized, because we started with a very simple idea, and then we realized that our code is just getting lengthier and lengthier in one file. And it is becoming very difficult for us to debug, to enhance that code. And then we realize that now we have to start implementing some of the system design concept, like having a modularization and the isolation as much as possible, so that we can just make the changes, without impacting the other features. Another one is a prompt engineering, and prompt engineering is very important when you are dealing with the LLMs, right? So if you have seen that, when we try to just integrate the InfluxDB, at that point of time, we have to change our prompt, right? So let me just quickly show you that, right? Because I just took the backup, right? So this is the query engine, right? If you remember, this is the context, or this is the prompt which we are feeding in for the InfluxDB. But before that, if you see, we don't have these lines, right? So this is what the prompt engineering is. Whenever you are trying to interact with the LLM, you have to focus so much on what kind of prompt you have to build and how you can just build that prompt so that LLM can help you effectively and efficiently. Environment setup, you know that, right? We have used a lot of Docker based, services, right? We have set up, Postgres, MongoDB, InfluxDB by Docker, and I explained that. We have used Python virtual environment to just isolate our environment from the system environment or the host environment where PyCharm is running, right? So there was a lot of environmental related setup knowledge also we got in this, right? Then precisely what kind of technologies and the the programming language and the libraries we learned, right? So as I explained, we heavily use Python. LangChain is one of the main library, where it's a very big ecosystem now, where we have LangGraph, LangSmith, which actually help us to just have a more complicated, agentic AI application build. But here we just try to stick to the LangChain because we wanted to have a very simple application, right? Large language model, we just use a Google Gemini with the API, but same logic you can extend for the other LLM as well, provided you have a proper API key which has a access which you need. RAG concept, retrieval augmented generation, that is also we have understand not only from the theory, but we have implemented that. Vector embedding is also we try to understand. Once we have a content, that content cannot be understood by the machine. So what we have to do, we have to convert that into the list of the numbers, which is a kind of an array for the numbers, which actually represent the data in a high dimensional space, right? It is more of just giving a sense of the context to the each and every word, so that literal meaning of word because that is not something which all we are always interested in. We are always interested in the context as well. So that actually helps. Re-rank model is just again another way where we just try to improve the accuracy of retrieval, which we were earlier dependent upon only on the vector similarity, but then we just implemented the re-rank model through which we just increase the accuracy. Natural language processing, though we haven't just went into any detail, but we definitely touch base in the InfluxDB because the user was asking a question in a natural language because they cannot write the influx query because most of the time non-technical person will be interacting such applications. So we just understand how we can convert the natural language processing with some flux query. Right. So for the data ingestion and the different databases perspective, we understand Pinecone, which is a vector database, and I explain that how you can set that up and how you can access that. Right. Also covered some basic, the vector database concept. Document loaders. We just heavily utilize a lot of classes, the modules with LangChain have provided to just have a different, loader available. Same with the text splitter. PDF processing, we understood and we try to learn some, the libraries from the Python, which actually help us to do, the just process the PDF as well. Right. So these are just a library, but apart from that, using with the library, we have also understand how we can just interact with the various database by using various library. For Postgres, we use PSY-COP-G2 binary, SQLite 3 library model, which is inbuilt in Python. For the MongoDB, we use PyMongo. For time series, we use InfluxDB client, right? So we just understand not only the integration, how we can integrate, but how to interact with those databases, different databases in a different way by using different libraries. But how we can intelligently parse the data and use the data in the RAG powered AI application and to also build the prompt for very effective prompt, for the LLM request. Then we just try to understand, the RESTful API as well. The CSV handling, again, for the CSV, we use Panda. For RESTful API, we use a request library. And for the web scraping, we use a beautiful soup. Though LangChain is actually using that beautiful soup under the hood, but we also try to understand what is beautiful soup, right? And then for the UI perspective, though we haven't used a Streamlit, we use a Gradio because Gradio seems to be the more simpler and more faster as compared to the Streamlit because we just wanted to have an application working to give you the sense. But if you really want to take it to the next level, then definitely we have to look for not only the Streamlit, I would say we have to go for the React and the different frameworks which are available, which is more suitable for the enterprise level application, right? Code refactoring also we understood, as I mentioned that earlier, our code was having a complete, monolith kind of structure where we have entire data in one particular file, and then we just created this refactor code base. You can just get that sense in a GitHub also because now we have an ingestion where we have all the ingestion. Then we have a query engine, which is in our RAG_query. Then we have a different services as well, right? Which is just talking to the modules, the large language models, creating a summary and all those kind of stuff, right? So, and the next thing is, apart from this, there are some ideas, which came into my mind, which we can use to make this simple foundational platform to build. These are just only simple like unified knowledge assistant. If you want, you can build that. AIOps monitor, I have already given you a one simple, very simple scenario, the use case, but there can be so many enhancements which you can put in an AIOps. You can add metrics, events, log messages, along with the time series data points to just understand your services and just make this platform more intelligent from the AIOps monitoring perspective. Dynamic search tool also, there can be n number of use cases and the probability which you can do. Right. So now that's it, which I wanted to just, conclude in this video. It was really a very nice journey for me. I learned a lot, and I just again, re-emphasize to myself that whenever I want to build a product, I don't have to worry about the big idea. All I have to do is to just have a very simple use case and just start building on it. And once you start building on it, once you are on a path of building something at that point of time, the new idea and the new thoughts will come into your brain and you have to just keep adding them. And after some time, you will be having something to proud of, right? I'm not sure whether this product is going to be successful or not, but I learned a lot and I enjoyed the journey when I was just trying to build this entire tutorial series. right? So just that's it from my side for this video. If you utilize this tutorial series, or if you just try to build some use cases by inspiring with this tutorial series, please feel free to put that into the comment section, and I would love to see that how you guys are utilizing this knowledge which I try to share with you. And whenever you have any feedback and you come across where my concept is not right, you can always correct me, right? Because this is something where I'm not an expert in that. I was learning and I was trying to just create a tutorial series in a simple terms so that these complicated concepts can be understood by any person, right? So if you really like this video, I would ask you to just give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed for my channel, I would be really appreciated if you can subscribe for my channel. And if you feel that okay, your team, your colleagues, your groups, your friends can spend some time to understand and to just go through this tutorial series to get their knowledge enhanced, please feel free to share with them. And as always, thanks for watching this. Stay healthy and keep learning new things.